Happy Women's History Day. Well, Women's International Women's Day. Happy International Women's History Month. This is your girl, Kelly Charles Collins. And I just had the pleasure of doing a keynote, my new keynote, the V Suite, where women own their vision, their voice, their visibility, and their value. And I did it for Delic US and their Women's Initiative Network. It was so amazing being able to share that time with them. And I talked to them about, some of the things that happened to me in my practice of law and actually towards the end of my practice of law, and how we as women can really work together and come together to elevate each other. Right. One of the things that people know about me is that I want women to win. And I will do what it takes, however, to have women win. And I also know, though, that I am a strong person. I am and I don't necessarily, not, I won't use the word strong because I usually don't. I am a powerful person, right? I know that I am powerful. My words are powerful. My presence is powerful. I know how to take up space. I know how to show up and show out, right? And so, one of the things that, because I know that about myself, I create spaces for women to be able to do the same. I always tell people that I know that my purpose in life is to be the light for others to stand in their greatness, and everything that I do is really around that purpose. And one of the questions that was asked of me is how do we as women help each other? How do we as women, when we get to a certain point, not just basically hold on to that seat, right? Hold on to that space and not help other women. And we have to get to the point that we realize that, one, we are the table. So, we can create whatever seats that we want to create. We are the table. We also have to know that when we're in those spaces, that we can't hold on so tight that we don't elevate other women into those spaces. I know there's a fear that if another, they only reserve one seat, right? We think that they only reserve one seat. And so if we, bring someone else in or someone else comes in, does that mean that we lose our seat? We have to get past that fear, because that fear is not only holding us back, but it's holding other women back. And one of the things that I talk about in my keynote is around us being trapped by the glass ceiling, stuck to the sticky floor, and bound by financial handcuffs. And that really keeps us from doing the things that we need to do. It really keeps us from living beyond our potential and really seeing our vision. Actually, it really keeps us from even creating a vision for our lives, right? And so think about who you are and the role that you play in the world and the role that you want to play in the world. What is the vision that you have for your life, and how are you showing up? How is it that you are helping other women to show up in spaces? What are you doing to advocate for other women? What are you doing to amplify other women's voices, right? We often look well, the men are doing this and the system is doing that, but what are we doing? Right? How is it that with all of the societal programming that is out there, right, that as little girls and young women and grown women, that we have been societally programmed to only speak when spoken to, only answer when called, to act like a lady, be nice, wait your turn, all the things. What are we doing to not live into that, so that we become unconsciously complicit in that behavior? We become unconsciously complicit in our erasure, right? We have to take responsibility. Yes, I know that there are systems out there. I know that this is a systemic issue, right? That has us, not being in C-suites and not getting paid what we're supposed to get paid, and all of those things. However, we also, as women, as strong women, I believe that women are powerful at their core, right? And so we also have to look at, what is the role that we're playing, consciously or unconsciously? How are we being complicit in our own erasure? When I talk to my speakers and I talk to them about not speaking for free and not speaking for exposure, and it's not that you never do it, it's that there should not be an expectation, And I have them say, I will not be complicit in my own erasure. And we have to really think about that. What are we doing and not doing that is allowing us to be erased? What are we doing as we sit on the sidelines and watch what's happening to other women and allow those women to be erased? Right? Because when we're complicit, we're giving permission, right? Because they're like, they're not going to say anything. We could just do whatever we want to do to her. They're not going to say anything, right? We cannot play into the women can't get along, women can't do. That's not true, right? When I started Ladies Who Leverage back during the pandemic, our motto was, we don't compete, we collabosource, which meant that we're going to work together. There's more than enough room in this world for us all to be brilliant, right? So many years ago, many years ago, I came up with what is now the motto for my life, which is, I belong everywhere I am, but I don't belong everywhere. And yes, I know other people have said it in their own iterations, but it's mine. I created it, right? I belong everywhere I am, but I don't belong everywhere. And what that means is that I belong in any room that I step into. I belong there. I have no questions about it. You may have questions about it. I don't have any questions, and I'm not answering your questions. But it also means that I don't belong everywhere, which means that not every person, not every place deserves access to me. That is about owning my value, right? And when we start to do that as a collective, and we start to amplify other women, when we start to speak up and speak out when we see things, right? When we start to understand the power of being silent sometimes, right? And when we start to create our own vision, when we start to, like, it said, the Bible says, write it down and make it plain. May have quoted that wrong. Sorry if I did. But write it down and make it plain, right? And then show up as that person, and show up as that person for other women, right? We have to stop living into the lower expectations of us. We have to stop living into the limitations that have been placed on us, right? To tell us, that we're not good enough, we're too emotional, we're too assertive, we're too loud, we're too whatever it is, right? That they want to say about us. And so, as we celebrate Women's History Month, I'm speaking to women right now, right? And about the power that we have to change each other's lives and to elevate each other, right? I worked in a predominantly male profession as a lawyer and experienced some really horrendous behavior, sexist, racist, misogynistic behavior. I had, attorneys, male attorneys towering over me and yelling in my face and standing in my face. And I had to stand up, right, for those things. And, in the moment, I would stand up for myself, knowing that they would go tell on me, right? I had them tell on me, send text messages to my boss and all the things. But I knew that I had to stand up because there were other women, there was always like a court reporter or another woman in the room. And I needed her to know that, that I would be there to stand up for her if this was happening to her. And so I think that's the responsibility as women when we talk about sisters and sisterhood. That's the responsibility that we have to each other. And listen, I wasn't always this way. I used to be a tomboy. Like when I was in high school, I used to hang out with all the boys in the mornings. I went to American High School in the 305 Miami. And I used to hang out with the boys, right? Because I was like, these girls are too catty. They're all the things. And then when I went to college, I was still who I was, like rowdy, 16 years old. And there were a bunch of women who were in college with me. And I was like, they are so loud. And they were thinking that I'm so loud, right? There was this whole thing. And one day, I had been involved when I was in high school. I had been involved in the Arcanettes, I think it was, which was part of like an informational kind of thing related to Phi Beta Sigma. And I would get to, go to college tours, and I got to see fraternity and sorority life. And so there was an informational meeting that was going to happen for Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated. And we were in Providence, Rhode Island. We were at Johnson and Wales University. There were no sororities there. There were no fraternities there, but we spent a lot of time on the weekends up at Brown University, and they had the sororities and the fraternities, and they didn't have a Zeta chapter. And so we went to this, these same women who, like, we couldn't stand each other, like couldn't stand the sight of each other. And we had taken on, you're too loud, you're too this, right? Taken on that programming. And somehow, some way, my 17-year-old self got all of these women from, different parts of the country and different, the way we grew up and, all the things. And we went to this meeting and I said to them, are we going to do this? And of the women that were there, 9 of us decided that yes, we were going to become members of Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated. And so in 1998, we were online at Johnson and Wales University, and we are charter members. We have a citywide charter, and we are charter members of the Sigma Nu chapter of Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated. And I was number 1 on the line. And, this week, thanks, Kelvin. This week is really, really important to us because we will be celebrating our 35th anniversary of our chapter. And it makes me want to cry because when I think about being a 17-year-old girl, I had no idea that my vision would have such an impact. We've had 100, including my line sisters, 133 women come through our chapter. Imagine, that is my legacy, right? That is my legacy for 35 years. 35 years because I chose to have a vision and make it plain and enroll other women in that vision. 35 years later, my line sisters and I are proud to see the legacy that we have left and will leave behind when we are no longer on this earth, that we have left behind because we decided as women to work together, to move beyond our differences, to move beyond all of the things that, we were thinking about each other, stories we were making up about each other, and to come together as a true sisterhood. These women, like, there is nothing and nobody who can come between us. We live all over the place, right? And we don't get to see each other often. But there is a bond and a sisterhood that can never be broken. And when I tell you that I am so proud, when I tell you that to think, I never even thought, like, we did it. We were online and we did what we did. And I don't think any of us ever thought like the long term. And so to be here 35 years later and to be going to DC on Friday to go celebrate and to see our legacy in that room, to see the women who we paved the way for. I think it's really, really important as women to understand that we are so powerful, that we have so much to give. We have we are the creator of life. Like, we bring life into this world. So imagine if we stood in that power. We're the only beings who can do that, right? Men can't do it. And so they're not here without us, right? We push them into the world and then we allow them to push us out. And we can't do that. We have to stand up for ourselves. We have to be powerful. We have to advocate for each other. We have to love each other. We have to support each other. We have to uplift each other. And so as we celebrate today, International Women's Day, and as we celebrate this month, International Women's History Month, let us not forget what this means. Let us not forget our power. And it's funny because International Women's History Month, I think, began in 1998, which is when our sorority, when our chapter started. So it's really a synergy. Um, but let us not forget, let us not just, do the niceties this month, just like, in Black History Month. Let us not just do the niceties and say, oh, we're celebrating. And then, next month it's like, yeah, y'all don't exist. And, we don't care about you. And so this is for everybody. This is a message for everyone to really understand the power of women and to respect us and to not do what what some of you are doing to try to erase our value. And then this is my call to action to women to not continue to be complicit in that erasure. So I just wanted to share that with you. I know that just came on my heart to come on here and share that with you today. Sending you lots of love, lots of blessings, lots of empowerment. Remember, you belong everywhere you are, but you don't belong everywhere. So with that, I'm going to say goodbye. Have an amazing day. Let me know what you think in the comments. And let me see. Oh, let me see. Yes, we've all experienced this on some level as a woman. You're speaking to my heart. Great job, Kelly. You dropped the mic and inspired everyone to go out and conquer their goals. This is from Kelvin, who graciously invited me to speak at Delic. So he said, great job, Kelly. You dropped the mic and inspired everyone to go out and conquer their goals, to have vision, voice, value, and visibility. Thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate you speaking my name in that room and allowing me to be there. And that's the other thing, women. Speak each other's name in rooms, open up opportunities, expand that table, and go out and live life unapologetically AF. Take care.